Welcome to the Run Amok Podcast.
To behave or run around in a wild, unruly, out of control manner.
Run Amok! Run Amok! We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, and fled out to sea. Run Amok! Run Amok! Run Amok! Run Amok! Hello and welcome to Season 2, Episode 27 of the Run Amok Podcast. I'm your host, David Stahl, and I'm joined by producer Gary and our compadre, Carson Cooper, to break down the latest from the Bachelorette and the NBA universes. Guys, it's spectacular to be here. We have a great episode. We had some great games happen from the NBA Finals. I'm excited to break down both, and it's great to see both of you as well.
It's great to see you as well.
Looking extremely handsome. Before we jump in, though, a couple things. First things first. We said last week, we've been inching towards 25 iTunes reviews. We wanted 20. This was the goal from the beginning. 25 5-star ratings on iTunes. We were flirting at 24 for forever. Boom, there we go. You guys, you came through.
This is the last
gave us
episode.
Our 25th. This is the last episode. Mic drop. This is it. And we're not even doing any recaps. It's ending right here. No, if you're listening and you haven't reviewed on iTunes yet, we would love if you did. If you're watching on YouTube, toss us a subscribe. We're not spamming you with videos. We're just hitting you with that good once a week juicy Bachelor and NBA updates. That's
With that
all
good.
Yeah, that good content. Now, Gary, one little thing to touch on, just in case, because I feel like there's a little crossover between the two audiences. Any Bachelor or Bachelorette fans who happen to be into Gossip Girl, well, is this the extremely weirdly niche podcast for you? Because during quarantine, when we had nothing else to cover, me and producer Gary recapped every episode of Gossip Girl, one by one. What a mission it was. We loved every moment of it. And if you're a fan, you know that the reboot episode 1 came out. Now we're waiting for all of them to come out, and you'll see the format. It's going to be a really fun, interesting format. Producer Gary's a genius. He pitched it to me. I love how we're going to tackle it. But just stay tuned. That's all I'll say. We are what do we call? What are Gossip Girl fans referred to as?
I don't even
Gossip
know.
heads?
Gossip heads.
That's what I call every fan base.
What
Junkheads,
Gossip
Gossip heads. Bachelor Nation is you can't change that.
No,
You
no,
can't
no.
change
Basketball
that.
heads.
Bachelor Nation heads. All right, so let's jump in. Bachelor Nation heads. Let's dive in to Katie's Bachelorette episode. We're on week 6, and let's start with the sort of an intro into the house now, because we start by getting Hunter on the couch near the beginning of the episode, and who's he talking? I think he's talking to Greg, who I've had some red flags before. And look, I don't mean to be wishy-washy, but this was a solid episode for Greg. I'm happy. I know I'm not just going to go after guys for the sake of it. It was a fine episode for him. But Hunter's talking on the couch to Greg, and he's getting real strategic about the show. Apparently, he's in the forums, he's in the comments section, and he's talking about his top 4. He's talking about, I think it's, which he was also super wrong about. He threw Connor B in his top 4, which I think a lot of us would have.
And
And
himself.
himself. Yeah.
And himself, which arguably, even though he's still in the show, I feel like he's more wrong about himself than Connor B, even though Connor B's no longer on the show. But anyways, he really dives into kind of the intricacies of it. On one hand, I'm like, okay, look, it seems like he definitely likes Katie, but I don't like him. Something's off. I don't mean to judge him because I know he's being vulnerable, but we got that little insight of how he, in his own words, wasn't a good husband in his first time around during his marriage. And look, good for you to admit that, but that is something that we know. I think he also knows the game a little too well, too. I don't know. It's like, I think he's there for Katie, but he's just playing a bit too strategically for me. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it did seem very, like that conversation with Greg seemed very technical in the sense that I don't know. He kind of made himself seem like he was a student of the game. Like you said, he was in the forums, he was in the comment sections. He knew all like the common bachelorette tropes that people fall into. And
crazy thing was like, oh, sometimes a guy will get 2 1-on-1s before anyone else. Like,
yeah,
that's a very niche fact to pick up.
And then Greg was like, "Oh, really?" He goes, "Yeah, it's rare. It rarely happens, but it does happen. Actually,
it's happened 3 times. Actually,
with the first person who gets the first impression, and it was just like he knew a lot.
He did know a lot, and
he
you
knew
know
too
what?
much.
Part of it, I'm like, he's one of us. Like, okay, fair enough. Like, if one of us went on the show, I wouldn't necessarily be like, "Oh, you're in it for the wrong reasons." And it was funny.
Also,
I think
one of us doesn't belong on the show. You know what I'm saying? Like the fans, you know
sure.
too much. You know too
Yeah.
much.
Fair. And but one thing, I love this though. Barstool Trent, who I shout out to him again. He's got the best Twitter feed in Bachelor Nation. He was saying yesterday how he would respect it way more if someone's not there for the fame, but literally just there to be on the show. Like, holy shit, like I'm here. I'm in the house. Yeah. Oh my god, I'm picking up a final rose. Like
that's kind of how it did
fandom.
seem with Hunter.
He doesn't even care about Instagram followers. He didn't even
care about being a nice guy and coming off of like building his platform. He was just like, I'm playing
doesn't
the
care
game.
about the fame. Has no interest in being the Bachelor. Quite literally just wants
to play the game.
I'm on the show.
Yeah,
like that's why he got so pumped during the sports day. He's like, oh yeah, I get to be the guy who's a huge spaz during the sports day. I get to be that trope. So I don't know. I'm just watching that now. Look, let's jump into this real quick because I missed the first 5 minutes and I was like, I jumped in. I was like, what the hell is happening? I see Caitlin Bristow talking about the Whoa challenge. I forget what the acronym is, but the guys essentially aren't allowed to jerk off for what? What is it? I missed the timeline. Is it the duration of the show? A week?
Oh, I thought it was just as long as they could make it.
I think it was as long as they could make it, but I heard something about a week.
I'll be honest. Okay, about this whole thing. It took me, I'm like, no word of a lie. It took me half the episode to realize what was going on.
Yeah.
Like I was so confused because I also missed just the brief intro to that part.
Yeah.
And Caitlin Bristol's going on about this. And I'm like, what are they talking about? And she kept saying like stuff like man stank and stuff. And I was like, can they not shower for the whole week? Like, I don't get it.
Why would you want that?
Self-care.
Yeah. Like, and I was just so confused.
Yeah.
And it took me probably like 20 minutes later to realize like what the actual idea was, which is kind of weird.
Well, no, it is weird. And let me say this. She can't say that she doesn't want drama in the house and then instill a sans jerk-off rule. There's going to be so much pent-up aggression. I'm thinking strictly in terms of safety. A guy like Hunter, you cannot put that limit on him. His eyes are already popping out of his head. He's freaking out. You need that guy to jerk off twice before he leaves the house every morning. Like he needs to be on a mandate of like, okay, this game is for everyone else. Hunter, you're playing a separate game in which we need you to do it twice and take a tranquilizer dart before you go on your next group date. I don't know. It's just kind of dumb. It was also kind of like, oh, we're in COVID. We can't do a lot of like stuff. So here's a gimmick. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was kind of whack. But
I did like how everyone treated it as though they were dying though. They were like fuck, like this is the worst thing that's ever happened.
They thought it was the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
Like well, which also makes me think like there might have been a bit of a problem in that house.
Yeah.
Well, like, it's a horny setting, dude. You're making out constantly. It's not like when we were all in quarantine. It's like, okay, that is also a situation in which like that would have been a tough rule to impose. However, we're not making out with a woman who we're falling in love with all the time.
Yeah, but it's also like
dangerous.
When you think about the actual setup of the show, each of them only get like very, very minimal time. Like the majority with Katie, like the majority of their time is just spent around other dudes. So like how high can that urge be? Yeah.
Sure. But and I did love though, like I think they kind of meant it as like, oh, this is going to be like a throwaway concept, but the guys were bringing it up all the time. Like, but the only one that was worth it was Blake.
Was fabulous.
Yeah. Fabulous.
I love that dude.
Like we'll get into him a bit more later. Let's jump into Justin's one-on-one. First things first. Oh, and can I say a little thing about Hunter? No one was mad, but I gotta walk myself back a little bit because
I'm a part of this too. We gotta both walk back a little.
I wasn't here, so I'm exonerated.
Everybody, look, and I'm not trying to pass the blame, but everybody and their grandmother was talking about Hunter snorting. I'm a big enough man to admit when I was wrong and to quote myself. I said it was not unlike a wild boar looking to perhaps attack someone. I just thought it was because people do that too. People do that as like a sign, I don't know, like a sign of aggression or whatever. And
the young kid we played basketball with the other day.
yes, we were playing pickup against a bunch of teenagers. That dude is a guy who's snorting to show his frustration. And I guess Hunter got it so much that he threw it up on his Instagram story and he said, just so you know, it's a tick. I have mild Tourette's. Fair enough.
Yeah,
I'm an asshole. Look, I obviously wouldn't have said it had I known. So, and no one who pointed it out, I honestly, like, even our new listeners are pretty cool about like giving us the benefit of the doubt and not being like, oh, you're blah, 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 blah. So appreciate being informed and sorry, Hunter, I know he listens. Now, Justin's one-on-one. The reason I brought that up is because I also got some insight into Justin. I think I told you about this, Gary, right?
Yeah.
Coop, did I tell you?
No, I don't think so.
Coop, did I tell you?
Okay.
I
don't think
so. On Twitter, Justin's old tweets resurfaced, extremely homophobic. Like I'm smiling just because it's absurd. Like how horrible they were. So bad. Like
oh really?
They were from 10 years ago. They were all from 2011 or earlier. Still, you can go on my Twitter. Yeah. You can scroll down as far as possible. There are no slurs on there. So I'm happy throwing a few stones at a glass house. But yeah, I didn't even see him put out a statement. I think he's just like, oh, the eyebrows will distract people. Yeah, pretty like you can find them. I urge people to go like, hey, I'm not saying crucify the guy. I don't know. I'm not a perfect person, but holy smokes, I was like, geez, these research are for really yourself. Bad.
Yeah,
really bad.
Well, I told my girlfriend about them, and she was like, you know, people can change, but like
people can change.
He definitely still has to make an apology at least, you know.
Yeah, well, yeah, I would say something.
It, yeah, some way.
Yeah. I mean, whatever.
You can't just ignore it.
Draw your own conclusions. That's all I'm saying. I just want to inform people of it, and you can decide whether you still are rooting for him or whatever. But he has his first one-on-one, and look, first of all, Franco Lacosta. Look, I love him. Worst photographer ever. Still, I haven't seen him take a good photo.
Those pictures are so brutal. Like, there's always a massive glare. I can never really like everything's a little bit blurry. There's always slight motion. Glare. Yeah, I
did we get to see the photos from the wedding thing?
Yes.
Yeah, and I didn't see them.
And they're terrible.
You got to have two hands on the camera, my man. You're not better than that. Don't act like you're better.
They're all
like this. They're all so goddamn crooked. Anyways, I think we're all in agreement on this too. I hate a wedding photo date. It's horrible juju. Stop it.
We talked about this in Matt James' season too. Like
we talked about it this season. They did a proposal this season. Yeah. Stop doing it. What do I like? Oh my God, we need to retire these dates. Also, it's so clear that Katie hates them. Yeah, just get him out of here. Retire it. Anyways, good to see Franco back though. He has, and it's very obvious that the guys really think that like Franco's going to make a big difference in like swaying Katie one way or the other. Yeah. No offense to him, I don't think it's gonna make a difference, but they all try to kiss his ass hard. Like Justin goes like, "Oh, I'm a hugger." Like. I'm fairly certain I'm not trying to be I'm fairly certain Franco's gay. So let's I don't know if you're his best friend, my man. Let's chill out a bit. But anyways, I don't know. I thought it was a big so-so date. Justin's deeper than his eyebrows. I guess he's more than an emoji. There was some substance there. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I thought it was a very meh date. Did you guys have any other thoughts?
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way. I mean, I was telling Gary, I was watching it with my mom, and she was like, "Oh, I like this guy. Like, he's really cute." I just thought meh was honestly the word that just came to mind. It was a nice date, I guess. Yeah. But it's just something was missing for me.
Similar energy, in my opinion, to the Andrew S date. Andrew S, is he the one who's staying?
Yeah.
Andrew, yeah. From last week, because we said we loved that conversation about interracial marriage. That was an important conversation to have.
Yeah.
Every other aspect of the actual date, big old meh, big old B. You get a B minus, but whatever. We also, this threw me off. Obscure Bachelorette artist Max is actually enormous. Has over 10 million monthly Spotify streams. Am I the only one? I had no idea who he was.
I had no idea who he was either.
I had no idea who he was. And when you said enormous, I thought you meant physical size because I was thinking, oh, he's on stage and he's shorter than Justin.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh my god, he is massive too. I just looked him up.
I didn't notice.
He was really good. I had no idea who he was.
Yeah, I mean, he was fine, but I was like, when I heard him and I saw him, I thought, you don't have a lot of fans. Not to be a dick, I just thought like you are a classic obscure Bachelor artist.
For sure.
Yeah. But okay, let's jump in. Let's jump into the group date. We get the drag queen roast, which was a date which had sky high potential. It could have been incredible.
I thought it was going to be so good.
It felt
and
so
boy, did it let me down.
Oh my god.
First of all,
was anyone else hoping they were gonna dress them up in drag and have them like do like a fashion show?
A fashion show? That would have been an awesome date. Yeah.
That would have been awesome.
Much better.
This could have even been, it wasn't a bad concept. I'd love a roast.
Yeah.
It's just they always overestimate how witty these guys are.
For sure.
Or even how ballsy they are. Like you're mad and that's the roast you come up with?
Yeah. And even the way they set it up too, like they set it up with Greg's poem, and it was like super, super bad. It was just cheesy and just it was 4 lines. Anyways,
we need a ghostwriter for Greg, man.
I thought they were putting that there to kind of set it up for, a big a big climax. Like it's gonna get really good.
Sure.
Start.
No pun intended.
Yeah, no pun intended. Nothing.
Nothing.
It was very linear the whole way through.
Now
I would almost say it was downhill the whole time. Like Greg's was the high point.
I guess. I guess I thought the roast at least would be like
that.
legitimate roast, and then just
but all we got was Hunter, I love you. That was it.
Well, I mean that was well. Also, we did get a great Michael A moment to start the day too, where he says, "What's he say?" It was something along the lines of like, "Oh, these are a bit like immediately." His first instinct of like, "Oh, we see these beautiful drag queens." Like he's just in awe of them. He's super enamored. I thought like this fucking guy is the nicest guy in the world. I love. He's just the best. Dude, I'm not trying to be cocky too. You guys can disagree. I think you guys would do very well too. My first thought was like, I would dominate this date right now. Like
for sure.
A roast of people that I've been around for like a few days.
Yeah.
Sorry, like it would have been game over. And also, like you gotta make it funny. You gotta make it mean enough to like again be funny and then not so mean that it's awkward, right? It's a line to balance. But it's one that like any dude who is a dude who's been in a guy group of friends
can figure it out.
should know how to toe.
And like also you had a paper and pen to put some stuff down. Yeah. Everyone just abandoned that and just started saying like, well, yelling. I saw Hunter do this. Like that's not a roast, dude.
Roast. It's not a roast, man. You gotta have a punchline and a setup. You can't just be accusing people, Aaron. Aaron went full cop mode again. Full cop mode. Yeah. This time he substituted disrespect for phoniness, which is different. But is it?
It's the same thing.
Yeah. I think
we only got one actual roast, and I can't remember who said it. But he said Hunter looked like an angry squirrel and like a beaver or something.
Oh, that was Trey.
Yeah, that was Trey before the actual roast.
That wasn't even in the roast. Oh, okay.
No, that was him prepping for it.
So we didn't even get a roast during the roast.
No, it was not a single actual roast.
Charmin Soft. The drag queens. Sorry, I didn't write their names down, but they were the only entertaining people on the entire day. Their insults.
They were quick too. They were witty and like funny and like they were going in on all the men. Like, dude,
I would have rather just had them
roast and insult everybody.
Yeah, just go through everybody one by one. It would have been awesime.
Hunter, did you get your parents to sign your permission slip?
Oh,
that was great.
And then he responds with, I did. Like. Way to play it cool, dude. He's like so obviously exploding on the inside. Yeah, I did. Yeah,
he
good
did
one.
sign it.
Yeah. Now, Trey, I wrote down. I mean, it doesn't end up mattering, but I said like Trey is starting to annoy me. The problem is he has a good personality, and I do mean this like not even in a jokey way. He just has zero game. You don't know how to talk. You don't know how to talk to a woman properly or get to know her because that's the only thing you know how to say.
Even last week's episode, I was starting to feel this about Trey. I know Hunter was annoying all of us, but he was the one who was really like, oh, like if I go home because I didn't get time with Katie tonight because Hunter already has a rose and Hunter's with Katie taking up all the time looking at the stars, and he just kind of kept harping on that. It's like, dude, agreed, yeah, okay, kind of a dick move by Hunter, I never saw you get up once though and try to go talk to her. Like
that's the thing. Then
like,
go get her, man.
go get her, man. Like this is not solely on Hunter because you
No.
you didn't get like she's not gonna come talk to you. You got to go talk to her, man. So like you said, like just really no game and like do you really want? Do you even care? Do you want to be there that much, or you just want to blame other people for your issues?
Yeah, I mean, if you think this is your wife, then go out and get her,
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
It should never been higher.
Yeah.
James kind of also tries to hop aboard the snitching bandwagon with Aaron, and this time they both fell off. Like it was very clear that it was just not going to happen. It was not working. He went for the shot though. I do kind of respect, even though like he knows the game. He's understanding what worked in the past. He just got there slightly too late. It's like getting in on crypto. Like he got in right at the high point, and it's like, oh nope, everyone's selling on
everyone's selling
now.
that.
Yeah. All right, let's jump into Connor's. Connor's 101.
Heartbreaking.
Whoa, this was very tough because I've never really seen this before, where two people are in completely different relationships with each other.
Yeah.
Not on the same page in terms of how well it's going, and devastating. Now, I actually thought it was going to go well from the way they were framing it at the beginning. And I don't mean this in a mean way. When I say from the beginning, when I saw Connor running up to Katie, I thought he was going to, I swear to God, jump into her arms.
Bro, okay. At the beginning of that date, after he picks her up and she goes, oh, we're gonna be having like a double date. Something in my bones told me, oh, this is not a good situation. This is not the date itself being a double date, but the fact that she wanted a buffer, a 2-person buffer. Yeah,
not a good sign. Well, I mean, if I asked a girl out and we were planning on, like, look, we were talking pre-pod, I'm trying to plan a special date now. If I planned a whole special day for a girl and she goes, oh, by the way, I have 2 other people showing up. That's not a good sign.
Just in case.
That alone is not a good sign, but also the fact that this was her last, like, kind of a chance to see if this is going to work with Connor, and you choose a double date, like what?
Yeah, it was over from the beginning.
I think the idea is interesting though. First of all, I will say I actually really do like the double date dynamic, and to quote some wisdom from my mom, one of the wisest people I know, she always says that a great way, especially to see how a guy, probably more than a girl, carries himself, is invite him to a friend or family game night, because you really see how they carry themselves in like a, and then when I wrote it down, I was like, Coop is the exception.
I was just gonna say that.
Coop's a great guy. Coop's a fantastic boyfriend. He's just a fantastic guy.
We're
playing games. We're playing games. Like, okay, no, like let's be clear here though. What's the purpose of a game night? La-di-da? Or is it to win games? It's to win games. Like I will never apologize for going hard to win games. Like, I'm sorry. I don't care if it's my girlfriend's mom, my girlfriend's grandma. Like, I'm winning the game.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm not there to
you're not there to make friends.
Like, I'm already the boyfriend. Like, who am I winning over?
Who cares? I'm here to win.
I'm here to win. I'm here to play. You invite me to game night. We're playing games.
Oh man, I knew I had to write that down. Coop's the exception, but any other guy, it's like, okay, see how he reacts. Now, what I will say, I don't remember what season he was even on, but Caitlin Bristow's husband is in the Bachelor universe. Jason Tartick, I believe it's pronounced, Tartick. An absolute delight. I love this guy.
Yep.
Fantastic hair. I thought he was such a great personality.
A gentleman.
A gentleman. I hope we get more of him. And he really broed down with Connor. He was in on like the whole process of it. He wasn't like, I don't know. Yeah, he acted like he wanted to be there, basically, and wanted to help facilitate
like he wasn't dragged
the date.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. I hope we see a little more of him. I don't know. I was thrown off midway through the date. I actually kind of like this date for Connor. He's unequivocally a dork for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. He's at least like very much himself. Those dad puns, I was rolling my eyes. I know. But that's who he is.
Okay, I think this is a perfect date, a normal date for Connor, because like this is right in his wheelhouse, right? Like he's that nice guy. Like he'll get along with anybody you bring to the date, whether it's your family, your friends, whatever the case is. But I think in this particular situation, when Katie knows that part of the relationship is already established, she's got that friendship, she knows he's a super nice guy, but what's lacking is that romantic piece. how is he supposed to demonstrate that
Well,
at this kind of date?
are you getting deja vu, Coop? Because she did precisely what Matt James did to her.
That's exactly what I thought when I was watching it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
True.
but
I didn't even think
You're in a
about that.
friendship and you
this.
get a friendship date.
Yeah.
That's kind of why I knew it wasn't going to go well, because when we think back to Matt James's one, he said, "Oh, Katie's hilarious. She's so fun to be around, but like I'm kind of lacking that romantic connection." What do? Their date ends up being, "Oh, we're gonna go to a massage place to prank Tyler Cameron." Like it's not even like
Not even a date.
not even a date.
Yeah, he never really stood a chance, but he did think he did, and then she shows up. First of all, what? We'll get into this later. What's up with all the guys are losing buttons like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing, fellas? Throw on a tie. Act like you're going to a fucking cocktail party. So he's there. He's got all the buttons down to his belt, and she opens the door, and she's in a hoodie and jeans, and she's crying.
Not a good sign.
He knew immediately what was happening.
I'm out of here.
The
Yeah.
entire time, as soon as he opened the door, he must have been thinking like, "Fuck." It was the cast. It was the cat costume, wasn't it? It was the cat.
Or like
pause.
it was my hot dog breath. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, it's not like the dude got given a bad hand, but I gotta say he was so nice about it. He was comforting her the whole time. And again, if you want to see how a guy's true colors, and this isn't a
Break up with him,
yeah, and then be like, "Oh, I was just testing to see how good of a guy you are."
But dude, when he said like, "Oh, it's okay," like I know where this is going.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was like, "Oh,
this is tough."
Just gut wrenching.
And he's a very he actually wasn't a bad crier. He gave off a fine. He did a fine job crying.
Sure.
He started losing at the end a little bit. I'm not laughing.
Yeah.
I'm laughing at something else in the background. I'm not laughing at Connor crying, guys. But I gotta say, man, hearing that it's a lack of physical chemistry is such a punch to the timbits. It's such a slap in the face, though. I gotta say, like, it's not a physical thing. I don't think he's not a bad looking guy. And this will say, like, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but I like to do very like thoughtful, cute things when I'm trying to like flirt with someone or be with someone. Like, I'll do very thoughtful, kind of grand gestures a little bit. But I think you can go too far with it. I think you can be too corny. Songs, the dances, the cat suit, etc. You can and should be thoughtful, of course.
All in moderation, though. Like you can't go.
Mm-hmm.
You
Play
can't just
cool
crank it
a
up
bit,
to corniness like 24/7, because that becomes who you are.
It is who you are. Like, you gotta play it cool a little bit. You not be like aloof, but give her something to chase a little bit. I'm not trying to sound like manipulative, but just chill out, dude, a little bit. And then you get the crazy sad line of he goes, "Oh, how bad of a kisser am I?" And the worst part is
pretty bad.
Pretty bad, because she had it pinned, like going into the date, she had it literally pinned down to the kiss. Like she will know once we kiss what happens here.
Dear Lord.
And I don't know how she thought a barbecue would fix all that.
Yeah.
But
well, the kid, I don't know. I like, not to get too like specific and graphic. I thought the kiss looked better than the other ones. But not good enough, I guess. Hey, look, that's a big part of the relationship. It's not an end all and be all necessarily. It is for some people. It isn't for others, case by case, but it is an aspect of it. It is a part of it. So especially for Katie. So
I would say clearly a big one for Katie.
Yeah, fair enough. And look, you can tell, and we'll get to it in a second, but also last thing, hey, Trey, chill out a bit, man. He got sent home. He didn't just get drafted into Vietnam.
What was going on in that room when he came back?
He's going off to war or something, dude.
It was almost identical to when Michael was talking about his wife's birthday.
Yeah. Oh, I think they cried harder.
They cried harder this time. Trey was in tears. Hunter was in tears. Like everyone was in tears.
Like, I get you're close, but like, just it's gonna be okay.
Aaron was like, I want to be like you, bro.
What, you
I
wanna
think
go
they were also
home?
worried because they all had him in their
Well, exactly.
in
Like,
their top 4.
and
or
you know what
whatever.
Trey said? He goes, "I'm worried. I'm a Connor. Like that's kind
Yeah.
of the level I'm at."
Yeah, well, it's just fair. Yeah, and
Yeah.
like you're not. You're also not. You're far below. You're
Yeah,
far.
you're-
You're far worse.
You're
off.
far below, so you should
That's
be
why
much
you
more
didn't get
worried
the
than you are.
one-on-one. You're just
Yeah.
a guy being thrown out with the rest of the trash. No offense, he's not trash. I'm just saying you're not getting a one-on-one, Trey. Chill out. Also, I loved Brendan, man. I think I texted this to one of you two after. He goes, just makes you think, like, when is your time coming? Like, such a loser's mentality. He's not even like, it makes you think, like, is she thinking the same thing for me? He's just like, when am I going home? Because
Yeah.
I'm not winning
Well,
this.
I texted this to you, Stall. He's had his bags packed since week 1.
Yeah, he's been wearing the
He's
same
been wearing the
2
same
shirts.
clothes. He's like,
Yeah,
I
his-
can't wear any more clothes because I'm going home next week.
His suitcase is
Oh my
3/4 undone. He keeps just reaching his arm in, pulling out a new shirt. Like, okay, this will do for today. I don't want to like unfold everything.
Also, that line, like, that's something that doesn't need to be said out loud. Like, just think that in your head, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like, okay,
Like
yeah,
you've been
no,
there,
no
bro.
shit, man.
Yeah, yeah. All right, and then we get Blake's cameo with the boombox.
Yeah. Speaking of cute gestures,
What a king, dude. And
Yeah.
look, it sucks that their song has to be so
I know.
corny.
I know.
But the boombox play from Say Anything, a classic
Anything, yep.
romantic movie. I love it. I love that move. I saw
Amazing
some
movie.
people on Twitter saying but they didn't like the move. What are you talking about? What?
Like the move itself or like the context of it?
No, I don't.
Just the move.
What do you
feel
mean?
like-
They didn't
No,
like
I-
that.
Here,
happening,
Here's
I
the
guess.
context is that Connor just went home, so Blake's like, oh, this is my chance. She's in her room alone crying right now. I gotta go make the move.
Yeah, he comforted her.
Yeah.
She was happier
No,
after.
I'm
was
here
she?
for it.
And
I'm
like,
here for
yeah,
it
I
all.
mean, to the people critiquing it, it's like, okay, well, look at the result. She's happier than she was 2 minutes before.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great boyfriend.
Sounds like
move.
you did a good job. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
And,
I
and he
loved it.
said, like, part of the thing of a relationship is being there for each other when, you know,
when your
good
other
times and
boyfriend
bad
breaks
times.
up with you.
When your other
Yeah,
boyfriend
I
breaks
thought
up
that
with
was
you.
so
Yeah,
funny when
yeah.
he said that. Yeah, it's like, it's part of being in a relationship. In our marriage, we're gonna see this all the time. When you break up with another guy, I'm gonna be there. I promise you.
Yeah, he goes
But it
while
was
you're in
sweet.
your sweats crying.
Yeah, exactly. I really liked it, and it did show like, okay, that's what physical chemistry is.
Yeah.
Holy
yeah.
smokes!
Yeah.
I thought we were gonna get when Blake put the "Do Not Disturb" sign on his door. I thought that was like at first I was like, wait, is he in her room? No, he was gonna be
He went back to his
yerking
room.
off in his own room. A little self-care, if you will.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, and even the way he talks, where he talks with this like gruff voice.
Yeah.
And,
a little
he's
rasp
doing all
to it.
these sexual innuendos, saying like, oh, it's really hard and blah blah blah. Like really low hanging fruit in terms of comedy.
Yeah.
2 out of 10 in terms of seduction. It is getting the job done. Yeah, I was a big fan of it. I don't know. Sounds like you guys are on board too.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
100%.
Like, I think he's honestly, for such a sexually liberated person, and again, I had like, hey, it doesn't mean she's attracted to everybody. It just means she's comfortable in her own skin. But I think Blake is like, I think it's him and I guess Greg. I see a lot of people saying like she's super attracted to Greg. To me, it's kind of like only Blake that she has
I think it's only
this
Blake.
super chemistry with.
Yeah. I think Blake's kind of the clear front runner in terms of, I don't know, physical chemistry, emotional chemistry, just kind of
Everything. All of it.
yeah, everything.
He's
Like,
crushing it.
I see Greg too. It's nowhere near the level that we just saw.
It's not.
We've been praising Greg for sitting back and doing his own thing because that's what you got to do. But at this point, now you got to.
Well, now it's time to turn it
Time
on.
to turn it
Now
up.
you gotta ramp
Yeah,
up.
You
exactly.
can't sit
You
back.
coasted from
Because
you know,
that's
from
what
the
happened
first
to Kelly,
episode.
right? Kelly
Yeah.
was coasting, and she.
That's a great point.
left
That's
behind.
a fantastic. That was the perfect. Yeah, this is just like the Kelly situation. Yeah, and I will say, look, again, I'm not trying to rip on Greg. You had a fine episode. I just find it manipulative to be constantly like, I'm having a hard time right now. I'm having a hard time. So what, dude? This is okay. These are your cards. What do you want to do? Like, just fold them and be like, well, I can't handle this. This is the situation you're in. If you want to be with her, then you got to endure it. Stop bringing it up. Just date her. Get to know her more. Keep connected. Just leave it with the I'm jealous, poor me
Yeah.
story. I don't know if you guys are feeling the same thing, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Just let it go, Greg. And I think that's going to be a big issue because we've seen this time and time again. The jealousy does not happen. This is not the height of jealousy. The more guys there are, it sounds weird. It sounds like nonsensical. But the more guys there are, the less jealousy there is, because you're watered down by, you're looking
100%,
around, you see Brendan and Trey and Aaron, you're like, well, these guys aren't a threat. Suddenly you're talking with Blake and you're seeing like, oh, he looks really happy after their conversation. You're like, now that date seemed to go really well. And you start to focus on the guys who are actually in line to develop their relationship. And I think that's when the jealousy sets in, is like top 6, 5, 4 sort of thing. So I think Greg doesn't make it to the end, if I'm predicting now. I don't know. All right.
And sorry, end is in what, like final 4? Or...
I think he leaves the show early. I think he
you
leaves
think
before
he
he's
gets cold
sent
feet
home.
and just leaves?
Yeah, or he can't deal with the amount of guys. Like, I think there is a big thing.
Well, we see clips of a lot of crying coming up. So like,
a lot of crying.
That's the thing. I think
from
either
everybody.
Michael M or Greg's going home, but I don't know.
I'm still sticking with what we said earlier, Gary, when we were doing our draft picks. I think Michael.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think so too.
I think so. We could have multiple. We could
have multiple. Yeah,
we'll
easily.
see.
Yeah,
we'll see. So let's jump into the rose ceremony. Real quick, we had some bold outfit choices overall. First of all, Hunter dressed in the white tuxedo like he was going to prom. Not a bad look. I saw my guy Carson Cooper absolutely crush a far nicer tuxedo, I might add, but not for I don't know, just weird look. Then we have Trey dressed like
cheetah print.
The leopard print carpet of a 3-star strip club. Dear Lord, Trey, what is that? A lot of guys, we talked about it before. A lot of guys rocking not enough ties and too few buttons. Let's do it up, fellas.
Aaron just wearing the same thing he's wore every time. Actually, Aaron stepped it up. Aaron didn't wear just a t-shirt and a suit jacket this time. He wore a shirt with one less button than I have on right now. He's been rocking that white t-shirt forever. I think he dropped some guac on it, so he switched it up. Some sour candies.
That's a callback to a couple other episodes ago if you're new to the show. Now, look, and by the way, a little insight to my viewing experience. I was going to take a pee break right before the commercial break, and then we ended. No, it was the end of the commercial break. We come back and I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to run up and pee. And Katie's talking to Hunter. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no. I got to stay for this. Complete waste. I could have peed. That was my first time. Nothing happens. They don't talk about anything. He goes, well, I'm telling the truth. And she goes, well, I don't know. And he goes, okay, I guess you know. And then they head back in.
Yeah. I did the exact same thing. I left and came back. I'm like, what happened? My girlfriend's like, nothing. Like,
nothing. Yeah.
Like he could have made it. He could have tried to like throw together some sort of a case.
He's out of Hail Marys.
All he said, he is. All he said was like,
white tux.
I don't know what else I can say to defend myself. And then she's like, I don't know how to feel right now. And he quite literally just said, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's all it took. It works, I guess. Yeah. Now, sorry, this seems that I'm just blanking the moment. Hunter is still there, right? He's there.
No,
Hunter's gone.
He went home?
Yeah, he's gone.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. I was debating that right before. I was like, shit, I didn't have a chance to look it up. Yeah, that's nuts because there were some moving pieces. Rip to Aaron as well, our king, our tattletale king, Randall from the schoolyard. Yeah. And I'll say this, I told you before the pod, Carson, because you sent like, hey, we have Connor, James, Aaron, and Trey all going to Paradise. Now we're going to talk about that later. We're not going to get into all the contestants because there are some fascinating ones I'm very excited to talk about, but we got a full season to focus on right now. We're going to do a big preview episode before Bachelor starts.
Paradise.
But I would love to try to interview Aaron or I'd like to listen to an interview with Aaron because look, he was a hilarious tattletale and he said the things he said, but I feel like we got flashes of like, there is some more to him. No, I think he got a real rough edit. I think they decided like, oh, he's the sheriff this season and that's it. Yeah. So I'd like to see just, I don't know, a bit more of his personality. Last thing, I wrote in all caps, how is Brendan still here? What's going on, man?
Oh my gosh.
I think she forgot.
Actually baffled. And I was telling this to Gary and like David, you and I texted last night as it was happening.
Yeah.
I was watching with my mom and I kept saying like, oh, it's going to be, I said, Trey or Aaron. I thought it was going to be Trey. I just kept saying Trey, then Brendan. I was like, what the?
Huh?
What?
I couldn't believe it.
Dude, he didn't even know his name got called. He's like, wait, what?
Wait, sorry, what? Sorry, what?
Sorry, I was just leaving to
he's halfway at the door. No,
he's actually
Brendan.
Come back.
One more week.
He's low-key pissed because he's going to be clothes to wear.
because he has hockey practice the next day. He has a ball hockey tournament. Katie,
Scheduled 'cause he thought he'd be done.
look, Katie, let's just chalk it up right here. I think my days are numbered.
No, I actually really like you. I see a future with you.
Sorry, the squad has ball hockey semis. If I'm not there to play tendy, we're gonna have to go with my boy Boner Dog, and you know how he is. That 5-hole is wide open. Okay, so let's jump into our rose and our thorn. Let's start negative and positive. Coop, let's start with you. What do you have for your thorn this episode?
So my thorn's gonna be Aaron and Trey. It's not necessarily from this episode. It's more of a
encapsulation.
Encapsulation and them being sent on their way. I was saying to Gary, I love the quote from Aaron when he goes, you know, like I've always been like looking out for Katie and wanted to let her know what was happening in the house. But now I'm starting to realize that I think she thinks I'm the drama. Bingo! Bingo,
I
dude.
missed that quote.
Yeah, man.
Missed that. Wow, that's so funny.
And it took you all season to realize, dude, that yeah, you weren't necessarily doing the bad stuff, but you were the one stirring it all up, letting everyone know about it. And Trey kind of got caught up in that over the last few weeks as well. Yeah. And you know, like I was saying, I think this episode really set the course for what the next one will be, and then going into hometowns after that. Trimmed off the fat in the drama, so we thought with the fat. Anyways, I don't know if Brendan, I don't know about that.
He's not doing anything. I mean, is he even fat? He's like a little extra
that's what I
piece
mean.
of
It's
spinach that was stuck to the pork chop that you get on your plate. You're like, okay, I'll just shove that to the side. Like mark my
words, he's gone next week.
Yeah.
And
he's not even the fry at the bottom of the bag. Like, he's not even that exciting.
He's the bag at the bottom of the bag. You're like, oh, it's just more bag. There's a negative substance. All right, that's a good one. What's yours, Gary? What are you cutting?
Mine's gonna be the roast date, because it had so much infinite potential. Could have been them doing drag, like could have been them roasting each other, but it ended up just, you know, falling flat on its face. It literally was nothing.
And we said, like, that's the biggest crime you can commit in reality TV is being boring. It's not being entertaining. It could either be a huge train wreck, huge conflict, all the guys actually roast it, whatever it is, it's got to capture my attention. It was a little bit of a yawn fest. All right, I like that. I had to get Hunter's strategic gameplay was mine. He's gone, so maybe that doesn't matter as much. I had the roast written down in my last one. James's disappointing run, man. We'll see how he does on Paradise, but I had high hopes. Handsome guy, seemed personable. I thought it was an interesting dynamic of like, oh, he's this kind of like hotshot salesman in California, but he has a thick New York accent. He dresses well. Like, sounds interesting on paper. Just kind of
seems
Aaron's
much
henchman.
better suited for Paradise, though.
For sure, but
I
you know
think
what?
It's gonna do good.
I question, how is the hot weather going to treat that head of hair? He's got to change something up.
Well, what happens in the water? I'm a little worried that it might just like
stay the same,
act like an iron helmet and drag.
He comes out of the water, and you know how people shake their hair and push their hands through it. Yeah. It just stays the exact same. Water falls off of it.
Come out of the water. I think it might be just too
weigh him
heavy.
down.
I think it might weigh him down. Like I'm saying, like an iron hat, like a chainmail helmet. And it might just suck him under. So I'm excited. Here's a prediction though. This is just, I have no spoilers, never spoilers on this podcast. Anti-spoiler. Fuck you, Reality Steve. Sorry, I know he listens, but just based off Instagram follows and seeing some likes and pure vibes. I'm guessing here, Serena P and James getting together. Serena P and James, little Canadian flavor with some LA, New York vibes. I don't know. I like it. All right. What's your rose, Coop? What'd you like from this episode?
My rose, low hanging fruit in the grand scheme of things of the episode, but Blake for me. I just think that's such an easy choice. I'm a Blake lover ever since he's hopped on this season, and that cute gesture is just, and the reference to say anything. What more could you do to satisfy me? Don't worry about Katie. You satisfied me that episode, Blake.
There we go. And that was his biggest concern.
That's all that matters.
Like, has anyone heard from Carson? How do you like it?
Is he satisfied?
Is he satisfied? All right, Gary, what you got?
I'm also gonna give it to Blake, but not because he's still sticking around, because he's holding it down for Team Canada. Him and Brendan.
Oh, he's not the only one.
Him and Brendan.
Well,
the duo.
Yes, he's the only
dynamic duo.
No, he's not the only one, Carson. He's not.
He is representing. All right. I like that one because Canadians historically don't do great.
They kind of suck. They kind of suck.
Well, Vanessa Grimaldi won Nick Viall's season. If anyone could,
can anybody win?
Season? No, come on.
Is anybody a winner?
I think Rachel Lindsay won Nick Viall's season by coming second and getting her own show. But sorry, Nick, I couldn't help it. Low hanging fruit. No, I like that one, Gary. Mine, I'm kind of fanboying over here. Jason Tartick. I love you, dude. Great hair, nice. Very charming. I want more Jason. All right, amazing. All right, guys, I'm pumped for next week. Very excited to see how it goes. I'm wondering about Greg. Very curious about how he's going to deal with the jealousy. I want to keep this momentum going with Blake.
Mm-hmm.
It's the path to a Blake engagement is almost too clear right now.
So almost too good.
The heck is going to happen next? Yeah. Stay tuned, guys. If you don't follow NBA. We got a fun rapid fire question to start us off. And then we're just going to be talking finals, nice and simple. So stick around. I highly recommend. It's going to be very, very entertaining. All right, fellas, let's jump right in. All right, guys, we're going to start off with our rapid fire questions. And then just to remind you, we're just talking NBA finals. It actually works out this week. Every week, it feels like we're previewing the next finals game. Then it happens on a Tuesday. The podcast comes out on a Wednesday, and we're we're right about some stuff, we're wrong about others, but we have no time to and it feels So thankfully, they're playing on this Wednesday night. We're recording this on July 13th. They're playing on the 14th. Beautiful, works out perfectly. But guys, first things first, after winning the ESPY for Best Breakthrough Athlete this past week, LaMelo Ball followed up the award with a speech in which he so eloquently said, "I'm not going to lie to y'all, I thought about a speech all day, all night. Then the rain hit, and I low-key forgot everything." Guys, when was the time you failed to live up to the moment? We'll start with our guy, producer Gary. What you got?
So this is it's kind of like a duo thing that we were gonna do, Stahl. We were really hyping this up. We went to a party in Ottawa a while back, and we were talking about being potential security guards for this party. And it wasn't necessarily the fault of ours. We didn't live up to the hype that we set, but it was the fault
fault of ours. It
was the fault of the party, because that party did not need security guards.
It did not need security. It needed promoters. Dude, and the funniest part is I tried to bring a girl to this party, and unfortunately I succeeded. And I was like, I asked the hosts, and I love them to death. They loved us talking about this party and joking about it, so they won't be offended if they happen to be listening.
Listen, it was a great expecience. And the stories to come of it were great, but
I asked, hey, can I bring this girl? And they're like, dude, and this is someone I was very serious about. It wasn't just some random girl. And they were like, oh, dude, I don't know. It's going to be packed. I don't know if we're going to have any room.
This is why we were supposed to be security guards.
I had to check with 8 hosts, and they were like, okay, I think we can let her in. There was so few people there. There was so few people there. And I tell her I'm supposed to be making sure not too many people crash it. So I'm going to be at the front door most of the night. I made a fool of myself. Yeah, that's a fantastic answer.
I've heard this story 100 times.
See, so let me explain why.
Why was that the case?
Well, it's happened before. That this house has had bangers. These hosts know how to throw a party.
Before this, they were shooting 100%.
1,000%.
1,000%.
Huge parties, and people would just pile in. This is after a huge football game. People would just pile in. So we went in being yes, I've seen the results of these exact parties on these days before. They were in a different house. Maybe it was a bit farther from campus. I don't know what happened. But build it and they will come. Not a philosophy that worked out that time around. Yeah. So. All right, Coop, do you have an answer? You want me to go first?
No, I'm good. Grade 12 badminton. Myself and a friend of the pod, Caleb's roommate actually. Him and I were badminton partners, and this was our first year playing badminton together, and we made exponential jumps in our skill level from when the season began to the playoffs. yet the expectations of us in our school are quite high when it comes to badminton.
First of all, can I just tell the listeners, get comfy wherever you are. Carson's talking badminton. You're going to want to get in a nice comfy chair, lean back, and just strap up. All right, go ahead.
So we peak at the right time. Okay. We're getting ready for playoffs. We're feeling good. We're the number one men's doubles team at our school at the time. All right, we secured that.
You were going to
spot.
say in like the province or something at your school. Okay,
no. So we get to our regional playoffs, and we have a tough bout. Okay, we have a tough bracket to play through. And it's going, we're winning the ones we should win, but we're not really getting the ones that could go either way, those 50-50 kind of battles. And it came down to this one game, okay? And we were the first team of our school, and each team in the playoffs, they send like, let's say you rank your doubles team. So like you get the first team, second team, third team. We were the first team from our school playing the second team of another school, but this second team was like very, very good. And it quite literally came down to a couple points for us to move on to go to our Western Ontario finals.
Yeah.
And Charles and I just quite simply didn't live up to the moment. We let the emotions get the better of us. And to this day, we often talk about it and often embellish
it's awesome
the story.
Too.
And so much
fun every
to
time.
the point where we might change the story around to indicate that we won that game and moved on.
Yeah,
so
I've heard it multiple times, told that you had won that game and then moved on to a tournament in which you had no role in.
Actually, yeah, I coached. So
you coached. I forgot.
So
yes.
often I'll say, I went to that, but
you did go to it. Yes,
in the capacity of a coach.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
There we go. Perfect. That is a perfect example. Mine was my, was it my acting debut? I guess it was probably my acting debut. I was in this. So basically, my major is English, and so I had taken like theater studying courses before, but it's just like analyzing plays, whether it be Shakespeare or more contemporary works or whatever it may be, but I've never been asked to perform. Now, when I signed up for this class, I did not know that was an aspect of it whatsoever. It gets far worse than what you're expecting. Whatever you're expecting, it's worse. So it was a big class too, probably about 100 people in it. And I found out very quickly that we were going to have to perform a play. Now, we didn't get a choice. I want to make this very clear. I did not choose my role. I did not choose the play in which I was in, but it just so happened that it was about Japanese war brides and their struggle to live in like a racist Southern city in America. And it was a fascinating play. I wish I could remember the title. I'm sure you could find it out with some light Googling, but it was really, really good. However, you might notice an issue. If you're listening to this, I am not in fact an Asian woman. Being a white guy, that's a tough line to toe, especially for someone who doesn't really have any acting chops. And she said, like, go all out. I want you guys going all out.
Really,
what do you mean by that? Really live the role. Like, really, yeah, I want you to be those characters for a week beforehand. And so, but there were people in my group who went for some very ambitious accents, right?
Yeah.
Who had a very similar skin tone to me.
Did
not work out well. I'd like to put on the record, didn't go for an accent. Hey, if that's going to drop my grade a little bit, worth it. There's not going to be a video.
And I was going to ask, did they come out with better grades than you?
I did well. I did well. I don't know. I don't know what they're. I think she took pity. It's like, okay, I don't think the white. I was also one of the only guys in the class too. I was the only guy playing a woman. I'll tell you that, and a minority as well. It was just. I remember when I first got the assignment, and the school itself. We went to a very liberal university. The school tends to be very liberal. My program is very liberal, and so I thought, okay, there are going to be some people here are going to be watching with a very critical eye, and I respect that. But I was nervous as hell. Didn't go great though. I wouldn't say I lived up to the moment because I thought I would crush it when we first found out. Like, hey, you're performing. I was like, oh, I interview people for sports articles. I talk all that. I've done public speaking.
An actor.
Not the same thing. Not the same thing at all. Respect to all the thespians listening, because not in my future. All right, let's dive into our NBA Finals analysis. Beer is not able to be here. Very convenient that after a big,
the
huge
lost.
Bucks win, he's like, "Oh, sorry, dude, he got his COVID shot today, so I guess he's feeling a little."
I got mine today too.
Yeah, I forgot to send him that. I was gonna say, "Oh, producer Gary got his," but he's able to come in. But I'm gonna read his mind real quick to start us off. Screw Scott Foster, man. Chris Paul now 1-12 in his last 13 playoff games refereed by him. Gary, as someone who doesn't follow the NBA very closely, isn't that freaking crazy?
That's wild.
1-12?
Yeah.
That's an insane stat. And now, to be fair, Foster really didn't have a huge impact on game 3. It was more the other officials kind of killing Phoenix with the foul calls, but still a wild stat. I also want to say that the fouls themselves were, for the most part, totally fair.
Were fouls?
They were fouls. When you have an enormous, not like a big star, like, oh, he's super famous, like a physically enormous star,
yeah.
like Giannis, just go into the rim every single
Chances
time.
are.
Well, yeah, you've earned your free throws, right?
Yeah.
That's what you tell superstars to do. He did that. He deserved those calls. I texted Beer after game 2. I texted him. I said, congratulations. I'm pumped for you. No offense to Milwaukee fans. I'm rooting for the Suns. However, series doesn't start until the home team loses, right? That's what they say. I said afterwards, because he responded with pretty sure it started a week and a half ago, like some Beer response,
classic.
right?
Yeah.
But I was like, hey, dude, I'm not trying to troll you. I don't want to jinx anything. I only have the best intentions. And look, that's still very much the case. I feel very good about the Suns still. But a fantastic time for Giannis to have his first back-to-back 40-plus point games. His game 2 and 3 of the finals. Little stat, you may have seen this on social media. Only other player to have 2 40-plus point, 10-plus rebound games in the finals is Shaq. Only other player to have 2 40-plus point games in a series, Shaq and Michael Jordan. So very good company. I mean, Carson, how how impressive has he been in his first final series to you?
Insane. Yeah. I was thinking, if anybody could keep this up, and bring them right back into it, it would be Giannis. And like you said, with the company that he's in, that's no small feat. And that's especially like you said too, this is your first finals. That's
young
wild.
guy, 26 years old. Yeah. But what I will say is it also helps that they're finally treating Giannis like an actual big man. Not to sound coy, but I mean, he's enormous. That's what you got to do moving forward. He's getting Ayton in foul trouble, punishing Phoenix in the paint. 14 of his baskets were within 5 feet of the hoop. That is absurd. He just sucks the whole defense in, makes everyone else better. Drew Holiday got some open shots from it. I think they have to keep going to Giannis in the post. But look, this is inevitable. The Bucks have been here before. They're seasoned. They've been called the dumbest team in NBA Finals history by, first of all, Charles Barkley said it, and then Kendrick Perkins said it. If that's not gonna fire you up, I don't know what is. Holy smokes. What'd you think about that quote, Coop?
I didn't even know Charles Barkley said that at all. The only quote that I saw
he said
was,
it when they were going, this was a couple rounds ago. They said it first, second round. Yeah.
I must have missed that, but I did see the Kendrick Perkins one. And it just makes me do a stank face. What? Yeah. Why does this guy?
Who are you?
But he does this every playoffs season. Last season, he was saying stuff about, I can't remember what team it was. There's somebody the Lakers were playing against, but
he knows how to be a national NBA media member, right? He's playing the game. But he's playing the game.
I guess, but not. I won't even put him up with the other former NBA players who are now commentators.
No, of course not. But what I will say is when Kendrick Perkins is talking smack, my point is, that's a perfect recipe for a bounce back game, right?
Absolutely. That's all the motivation you'd ever need.
Yeah. But I'm wondering, I don't know how sustainable it is. I don't mean in a bad way. I just mean when I watched game 3, it was very clear what the Suns need to fix. Devin Booker, you need to shoot more. I want them to go back to that pick and roll with Ayton. Obviously, Ayton needs to stay out of foul trouble. He's done a great job of doing that throughout the whole playoffs. He's gone against Anthony Davis for a period of time. Jokic, obviously, he was going against. He's had a lot of good center competition. And he's dominated through it and been able to stay on the floor. So I have faith in him not necessarily getting played out of the series again. I just think if you're the Suns, it was a blowout, of course, great win, but there's also a clear blueprint of what you need to improve. You're not leaving and being like,
what do we do now?
I don't know what we do.
Yeah.
Now, no offense, but Pat Connaughton was the Bucks' second best player in game 2. That, say what you will about him, good role player, that's not a recipe for success.
That simply cannot happen.
You are not going to win a series if Pat Connaughton is your second best player. You're not going to win a series if Pat Connaughton is your third best player. I mean, like, sorry, they need Middleton to bruise on both ends of the floor. If he's your second star, like he's paid as, you still need him to put up more. Like, he played fine. He put up 18 points on 43. I'll round up for him. 43% from the field. That's not all-star numbers. His defense was really, really solid. He facilitated well, and he had around 6 assists. He was passing the ball well, moving it around. It doesn't matter. If you're a star, I shouldn't be like, yeah, you were passing the ball well.
No. Your
presence should be known in every quarter of the game.
Yeah, your presence should be evident on the score sheet, and just from a regular Joe watching the game, you should be able to say, oh, that Chris Middleton really had an impact on that game.
Yeah, totally. And I wrote down, like, when I was watching the game, I wrote down some nice notes. I was like, oh, crucial foul on Ayton right before the half. That can't be your signature moment. Is a foul right before halftime. That should
never reach anyone's notepad.
No, yeah, exactly. What I will say, though, I've been kind of tough on him the past couple of weeks. Drew Holiday, he was big, fantastic defense, stretched the floor just enough. Still, I'm not feeling great. Like, are you going to get 3 more, Giannis? 40-point games? Like, without him scoring 40 points, yes, it was a blowout, but without him sucking in the defense like that constantly, I don't know if you see a win. It's not guaranteed.
Yeah, I don't know how sustainable that is in the way you put it, as with Phoenix knowing what their game plan is next, like what they have to shift. It'd be different if they were in peril and they just had no idea how to stop this or how to fix their offense. But when they have a plan, and then pretty much everything will then rely on Giannis keeping up close to 40-point performances, but also Drew Holiday stepping up, Chris Middleton stepping up. It seems a little more unlikely than.
And look, I mean, Giannis, we talked about it. He's young. That hyperextended knee, that's a big thing. We saw Kevin Durant try to play through that against the Raps. I saw it in person. I wasn't rooting for an injury, but when he went down, it's like, okay, well, that's what happens when you try to play through a guy with an injury. Sometimes another one pops up. Also, about 3 minutes, I don't know, very early in game 3, he gets taken out. It looked in the moment, I thought he was having a panic attack. I guess he was just winded very early. I don't know. It was weird. So, look, I'm rooting for him to be able to. I'm never rooting for an injury, never rooting for a guy to be played out of a series or whatever. But I am wondering, like, they're going to be leaning on him play 44 minutes, 46 minutes a game. And honestly, good for the Bucks. That's a fantastic win. Like, I'm picking apart stuff because, look, it's a blowout. You got to look like, where else can we improve? You're still down 2-1. I simply don't see Devin Booker going 3 for 14 on like 21.5% from the field again. He's been a dog in the playoffs. I don't see that being a projection for the series. I also think, if I'm going to like take a hard stance, I'm still taking Suns in 6, and to make some hard, fast prediction for next game, I think it's probably going to be Flop City next game for the Suns. I think Giannis is going to have to he's going to have to use those push shots a little more than barreling towards the rim, because I think if he just keeps trying to barrel into the paint, Phoenix is really going to try to sell it. And after Monty Williams' comments, like, I think he probably knew, okay, those fouls are legitimate, but I'm still going to say something just to try to sway the refs a little bit.
For sure. Change the narrative of it.
Yeah. Last major key for the Suns. Stop playing Frank Kaminsky. Stop it. No more. You're done. Frank off the floor. And I thought, hey, he's in Milwaukee. He was a Wisconsin guy. He was dominant while playing in college in Wisconsin. He's back. He's going to play fantastic. He had one dunk, and it barely got over the rim. It was the definition of a rim grazer.
I saw a tweet the other day that said that Frank Kaminsky is the biggest he's still in the league guy of all time. Like,
well, and he's playing real minutes in the finals. Don't love that. Cam Johnson, you're the backup center. Please, please, please. Sorry, I know you're a little small.
But
that's what you're playing.
Yeah.
You're a little small, but you're not Frank Kaminsky. So like Frank Kaminsky plays like he's 6'2" too, man. He plays he's 6'2", 400 pounds. Like he's so slow. Oh my God. All right. So I'm taking Suns in 6. What do you looking forward, Coop? What do you think this series is going to? Give us a little prediction.
I'm still thinking I thought Suns in 6 as well.
Yeah.
Was my initial prediction, and I'm gonna stick by that.
I'm excited. I'm rooting for a long series. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget, like we said at the top of the episode, if you're new, rate, review, subscribe. Doesn't cost you a thing. We're not throwing ads on these videos or these podcasts. All we want are those juicy reviews and just for you to enjoy the program. So thank you. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Thanks for joining. Producer Gary, remember,
a wet bird never flies at night.
Thank you. Peace.